And sometimes even creators come up with a problem because they have the solution, so they create the problem in order to have their product validated. But again, maybe that problem is not really valid.
You are watching the Creator Chronicles. Hi, I'm Artur Papikan, and this is where we break down the silent mistakes that are happening throughout the different stages of a crowdfunding campaign. Most founders think campaigns fail on the launch day. Actually, things are a bit different. And to uncover that, today we have Yeva with us, a successful project manager who helped a lot of campaigns raise multi-million-dollar campaigns. Yeva, in ideal world, plans always look perfect on the paperwork. But whenever you start wrapping it up, everything may collapse. How do you identify whether the plan is the right one or there are a lot of risks that you should take into account?
A very good question, because planning is very important in every kind of project, and the same goes with the crowdfunding campaigns and crowdfunding projects. And the planning on paper can be perfect, yes, but once I would say, face the real conditions of the crowdfunding, this plan can definitely collapse, as you said. I would say the main issue here is because the planning that comes initially should also be connected to that real conditions. So you can't just come up with a perfect plan that looks beautiful, sounds amazing, put it on paper and feel like it's going to work when you actually face the reality. That's why in planning, what I practice a lot is to make data-driven decisions. And this data should come from things that we try and we test before the launch, in the pre-launch stage, to understand what the reality can most likely look after the launch. So based on that, we do the planning to make sure after the launch we have solid plan to follow. Also, one other thing that is really important here that I see a lot of creators do, sometimes they come with their plan that looks amazing with like $1 million and $2 million and $3 million raise that we plan to have, and we have everything written beautifully. But it's really important I'm always for the ambitious goals, because we always set goals that are ambitious and we know we do need to go the extra mile to reach that. But there is a big difference between ambitious and unrealistic goals. Yeah. So one of the biggest mistakes in planning is also that when you put unrealistic goals, then your plan you can consider as if you don't have a plan at all, because going after unrealistic goals is not efficient in any way. So I would say in planning, it would be really important to do it based on data. You should, at least know who your market is, at least know how big your market demand is, so you can plan accordingly, or identify the main directions that are going to be the key in raising your desired raise. And based on that information only, have your realistic plan. In that case, definitely after the launch, you're going to be safer than with the beautiful plan that sounds amazing, but most likely it's not going to work very well. Also, one more thing that I recently had many cases to realize how important it is the risk management in planning. Because usually we have limited time or resources, and we want to make sure everything is perfect on the launch, like following our to-do list. And sometimes we don't give enough time to the risk management when it comes to things that may or may not happen. So when you have limited time and you want to figure out everything, you sometimes leave this risk management part and don't get back to it, thinking that, okay, this thing may happen or may not happen, and let me not concentrate and spend too much time on it. But actually, those risks are one thing that can just change your plan completely. So if you do not give enough time to it to think about it and have your plan B, or identify the possible risks that can take you to a different path, then again, after launch, you can have completely different reality to deal with.
Yeah, as a project manager, so whenever you are planning, you have two sides. One is your team, the other side is the founder. And going from the founder side, you told that a lot of founders initially have their own plans, how they want the campaign to happen, and sometimes those can seem unrealistic. But almost all of them treat their campaigns as their own child,
Yes.
you can say, and they try to do the best for their product as well. What are the most common mistakes we can say that founders are making when doing these plans, and what are the hardest ones that they are giving up?
As you said, the creators treat their projects, many of them, as their child. So I personally have so much respect towards it because I can't imagine how much effort, work, and time they put into the project. So I totally understand sometimes the take they have or the thoughts they have about their project. But I think the most important thing for them to understand is to hear people who don't just assume things or share hypotheses, but share real data and analysis that may be more realistic than, let's say, what their friends say. Or sometimes creators say, my friend launched this campaign and they raised 2 million, then definitely I'm going to do the same. Or my cousin said that this is a great product and has a lot of demand, but that's not your customer or your target audience. So I would say that in their planning and ideas, the biggest mistake that they make is that they don't hear and get insights from real data and potential customers, but they base their analysis on not very realistic and not very data-driven sources. In that way, definitely everything is not going to go the way it should go. And maybe the biggest thing that is really hard for them to kind of give up or realize is maybe the product demand, I would say. Because in crowdfunding, we face a lot of situations and we deal with partners who have very innovative, right, creative ideas. So many times products that haven't been in the market before, or they are truly innovative, right? So it's just a new thing and you don't know if people like it or not. But if it came from your own problem, you think like, oh, I have this problem, I found this solution, then everyone in the world has the same problem and they want this solution. So maybe the biggest and the hardest thing to realize is that, sorry, but maybe not as many people would want to have the product as a solution to their problem than you think. And sometimes even creators come up with a problem because they have the solution, so they create the problem in order to have their product validated. But again, maybe that problem is not really valid, and it's not really a problem. You just created it to sell your solution to people.
This is the case when they definitely miss the mom test.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, our favorite test.
Yeah, and on the other side we have the team who is working on the project. So whenever you as a project manager are planning for the whole campaign, what are the main obstacles that you are coming across while working with the team, as like they are also professionals and they know what works best in their field? So how are you aligning if your plans are not meeting with theirs?
Actually, I'm just now thinking and trying to find situations that this happened. But honestly, I would say that in my practice, because we have mutual respect towards, like me as a project manager, right? And I have respect towards all the specialists that work on the campaign, because we share the responsibility of making it a great one. It would be like PR direction, influencer marketing, copywriting. So in all cases, we have the mutual respect towards who's responsible of what. And we know that I am not a good copywriter, you're the best copywriter here. And the same goes with like planning and managerial strategic thinking and so on. So I would say we usually do not have these clashes and misunderstanding, because everyone knows what they are like responsible of. And we take a lot of ownership in what we do. So most of the time we do not have big issues contradicting, because when I do my planning, I know my specialists, I know the resources that we have, and I know the concerns or things that may be obstacles for them. Let's say influencer marketing should do influencer marketing when we have good samples, and it's much better if we have working samples and we can do the influencer marketing in a bigger scope, let's say. So when I do my planning, I take this into consideration, also having my specialist, my teammate in mind. So most of the time, it goes quite smoothly. So the overall plan always includes all these directional kind of plans and concerns and obstacles, and I share it with the team. We come up with like overall solutions, and we align. And most of the time, it goes quite smoothly.
Yeah.
So I'm really
Very
happy
nice.
in that case.
Okay, jumping to another part of the curtains, like whenever people are saying successful crowdfunding campaign, the first thing that they are thinking is a big launch.
Yes, big raise.
Yeah, launch is successful. They raised quite some money on the first days, but the campaign itself is not about those days. It can last up to 2 months. If we go through the curve, we can say that most of the campaigns drop in the middle. And this can bring fail actually to the campaign that founders are aiming to raise. What are the main issues that are causing for this fail that campaigns are experiencing?
You're right. The mid-campaign stage is maybe the most challenging part of the campaign because ROI drops. It's really hard to invest and bring as much money as you did in the first stage of your campaign. I think the biggest fail will happen in a case when knowing that your mid-campaign stage is a challenging one, you do not plan strategically how you're going to deal with that specific stage. So there are a lot of tactics and strategies you can do to make sure that this mid stage is not as harmful, let's say, as it can be, which goes to like making sure you have, let's say, influencer posts, or you have PR publications or some kind of activities, offers going on your page, or you do some backer community management, letting them refer to others, or many other kind of things that you can plan beforehand. So when you enter that mid-campaign stage, you have a solid plan and you proceed with it, and you see how like small amounts of effort from each direction comes together to kind of boost you and keep you going in the mid-campaign and not have this very bad curve. So again, it maybe goes back to planning. So definitely planning helps in this mid-campaign stage, and realizing that you have this. It's one of the risks, as I said, also to understand that in this mid-campaign stage, you may have a lot of, like, your daily raise can drop significantly. So you need to have a plan how to mitigate this risk and make sure you don't get into very bad stage.
Yeah. So one of the core elements for the planning is timing. And whenever creators are planning to launch campaign, they are putting most of the efforts for the launch stage. For this mid part, what is the best way to plan in terms of timing? Should you do it after the launch to see how the results are going, or should you have kind of a plan when you are doing your launch plan as well?
This is about the mid stage, right? Again.
Yeah.
I would definitely say to start thinking about it and planning before the launch, because no matter how big your launch is, you may have this mid-campaign crisis. So it's really important to start thinking about it before the launch, because some activities that you plan for that stage take time to be executed. For example, one of the time-consuming activities is the influencer marketing direction, because you need to ship the sample, sign an agreement, do the testing, get the post created, and then post. So you definitely need time to go through the process. So I would say start thinking and planning before the launch for sure. And maybe after the launch, you may come up with other ideas too. Let's say understanding how active your backer community is. If they are engaged people, then you start coming up with like engaging content and strategies to kind of use their resources for you to go through the mid-campaign stage. But definitely certain things you can start way before that, before the launch.
And the last question is about timing itself. So whenever you are planning for too long, your data, which you refer that is very crucial for the crowdfunding, may become overdated. But if your timing is quite short, impulses may take into action and your plan would not be what you suppose the campaign to be. What is your best approach based on your experience?
I would say that giving enough time for the preparation is really important, and maybe one thing that is underestimated, and sometimes creators also don't realize how important is this pre-launch stage, because during this time you don't only collect a lot of insight, as you said, that are data which you base all your campaign on. It's also an important time to do lead generation and collect possible leads that can convert on the launch date, so you can have the big launch you want. And again, you also mentioned a very important thing. Sometimes too long is also not very optimal, because the same goes to the leads, that they become cold at some point, so they forget about you basically, or during that time they may go and do another purchase that solves their problem, and you may be too late to launch. And again, when the time is too short, you may just fail all these preparation activities to do. And another good thing about timing is also like just the seasonal, like holidays and all of these things to take into consideration, because, for example, the Black Friday season and the costs of the advertising and so on, all of these things should be taken into consideration. Or, for example, if the creators will be taking part in different expos like CES or Eurobike or things like that, we make sure to have this information and advise how to best plan the activities in order to align with these expo activities and help each other. For example, it would be really good that you're already live when you go to an CES or you go to another expo, to be able to bring this traffic to your live campaign. And this is an additional source that can help you boost your campaign a lot. So it's much logical to plan that way, then go to the CES, not be live, and just after 2 weeks launch, and then you kind of lost that traffic from CES that you could possibly take. So in timing, there are a lot of things to take into consideration. So in my case, it's always a very close discussions and collaborations with the partners to make sure we take into consideration all these details to come up with the best and optimal timing and planning for a certain campaign.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
One more question, but this time not from me, but from our previous guest.
I take only questions from you, but go ahead.
Okay, so the question is about the last minute onboarding of the campaign.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your reactions when the campaign is onboarding, for
I'm wondering
example?
who asked this from the team.
Someone who has a lot of experience.
Okay. I think the best approach here is the following. If we took the risk, basically, with the partners, then it's also our responsibility to make sure we organize our priorities in a way that we can fully concentrate on that last minute onboarding to make sure it goes as smoothly as possible. Because I believe that, and in my practice, it has been in many cases that we went into something with the partners, like hand to hand, knowing that this is a risk that we're taking, but we're sharing the responsibility. And we committed like 110%, but we knew it's like a risky situation, it's abnormal situation. So we recognize that. And if we are going into it, then we are going into it fully, putting a lot of dedication and maybe working extra, going the extra mile, but making sure the process goes smoothly because we took the responsibility.
Yeah,
so
risks are quite higher here.
Yeah. This is the approach we have, and I don't see any other way to do it, because if we basically say yes to something, then we have to make sure we go till the end. Of course, I prefer less stressful situations, so when the onboardings are not last minute, but at the same time, I really like to see how sometimes team can get together to just go through the challenge and make it work. And that's just a proud moment that it's a bit, stressful, but sometimes you feel the excitement of something challenging you were able to accomplish. So yes, let's have it less, but if we have it, then we're going to go through it with a lot of pride and ownership. Fine.
Thank you a lot, Yeva. And
thank you.
What would be your one advice to all of the creators?
All of the creators?
Yeah, that everyone can refer to.
don't stop thinking, creating, coming up with ideas, because I think from this side of the world, we sometimes maybe don't understand how much these creators put their life into some projects. And as I said, I have deep respect towards that, and I just want them to continue creating, continue coming up with ideas, but always listen to the real data, to like combine these two words together, creativity and data, to be able to come up with the best project possible. So just keep creating, keep being innovative, and we're always here to kind of give the data-based insights to make projects as successful as possible. So yeah, keep creating.
Thank you, Eva. The time is now yours to pose a question for our next guest.
Okay, I should make it a stressful one then.
As you wish.
I don't know who our next guest will be, but maybe I can come up with a question that can apply, I guess, everyone during these times, which connects to AI, because I am experimenting this in my workflow a lot these days, and it's just interesting for our next secret guest to answer how AI kind of affected their work style, work life, and in what ways. So we can maybe learn more about that.
Perfect. It's going to be quite a stressful one.
Let's see.
For the next question.
Ask them if they still have their job.
Perfect. Thank you very much,
Thank
Eva.
you.
Thank you for watching Crowdfunding Chronicles with us. Make sure to leave your questions if you have in the comment section, and also hit the like button, also subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned. Bye.